Got done power washing the hog barn. Winter out. And I'm wet. It did get over freezing today, so it thawed off some of these, at least this road. This was solid ice, as you can tell. I'm gonna pink lemonade. Jay's Mix and Brekia, or any of you dames that watch this, check out that post I had with the guy that wants a woman voice talent. He does Spider-Man. Can't think right now. Dramatic readings of Spider-Man comic books. And he needs female talent. It's not paid. It's just something you do for fun. Some of you could enjoy it. I don't know. I don't know what. I just came across the channel last night. I may have seen it before. I'm not sure. But, yeah. Oh, Jay's Mixed daughter has a really good voice. I don't know if she cares to pursue it. But. And then Bree, her kid, likes Spider-Man. So I thought that'd just be something for her to do. She's kind of got an accent, so I don't know how well she'd work for New York characters, but you never know. She may be able to do different kinds of voices. And, you know, they may use her for, like Rogue. They could use her for Rogue, because Rogue's from the South. They could use her for that. And their kid would probably enjoy saying, "Oh, my mom tried out for Spider-Man." She's big into Spider-Man. Yeah, it's 35. Oh, now it's 32 degrees. There's no wind, which is rare. So it's like summer right now. How's your day going? I just got done power washing a hog barn. How much snow did you guys get the other day? We got like 2 foot west of here. And then it was headed up like Iowa, Minnesota, up your way. Well, as soon as I get there, I'm going to have a pink lemonade. I should go in the house. I'm soaking wet, but I'm going to have a pink lemonade first. That's the problem with power washing. Oh, that's good, because this stuff, if it was anything like here, that was some of the wettest snow I've ever seen. Like, you'd pick up a handful and just water would be just like you're putting your hand out of the sink. Couldn't even make snowball hardly. It's just water. It's like that thunder snow video I did. Had it been like a degree colder, we would have had at least a foot. It was like 32, 33. So got lucky. And instead we got like an inch of snow or an inch of rain and then snow. pommel horse. I still haven't moved that. I'm gonna sit like this. Yeah, let's sit like this. Maybe we'll see some animals. Shit. There we go. Aside from that 60 below, thank you, 12 acres, a little over 12. Aside from that 60 below bit we had, it's been decent weather. But we get a bunch of wind. Oh. You're a power wash the hog barn. I think we talked about this before, actually. But yeah, that big one's a horse barn that's going to get fixed up. And corn crib. And then behind that, yeah, we're going to have like 20s and 30s, which is all right. And behind that is a hog barn. I should roll up my window. Yeah. The people were so much smaller because that was built like late 1800s, early 1900s, right? Well, none of these trees were. There's an old picture of it where it's just the barn and a turkey. But I mean, you see how big some of these trees are, and some of those trees down below are like 100 foot tall. So you can imagine how old it was. Well, anyway, there's just, like people do, there's just the wooden boards or the boards on the side that they use for a ladder to get up into the top. Well, I can't get my shoulders through. I haven't been up top there 20 some years. I can't get my shoulders. I have to cut the floor open. I can go in, like kind of like sideways, but then I still can't climb up because my knees will hit. I'm not a little person. So yeah, it's just impossible. All the wood inside, I know, I hate those things. And like windmills, there's no way in hell I can get on top of this windmill because the ladder is narrower than one of my legs. I mean, my foot, yeah, it's just unbelievable. Yeah, I think the last time I've been in the top of that barn would have been 90, probably would have been 99, 9. Ooh, something was just running across the top of the hog barn. Well, not only just crazy, just little. Absolutely little. One thing I haven't ever shown, speaking of windmills, though, you know how in the old days it was just wooden pieces, that would go up and down and would pump the water. I can't think of what those sticks are called, but you know what I'm talking about. I have some that are, it's 2 pieces that are probably 20 some 30 foot long, right? And they're octagonal. I'm assuming they were never used. Somebody's shooting. Anyway. Yeah, I've never shown those. Still has like varnish on them. Or like, you know, the protective shellac, whatever you want to call it. And they screw together. They're inside the metal building. And then I've got I can't think of what they're called. You know, how you would see the elevator. People here hunt all year round, and it just makes me sick. But no, we shoot all year round, so shooting here that's nothing. That's first time I shot a gun, I was probably 2 or 3. So, I mean, that's just how, you know, way of life here. And deer is delicious. Deer is very delicious. Once everything gets going, and I'll say it because it's fairly likely 90 some percent that I'm going to pay all this off here in the next week or 2. Things are really going to start changing. Like with the channel, I'm still going to do card videos and videos like this, but I don't care if YouTube don't like it. There's going to be shooting videos and all kinds of archery, all kinds of stuff. Cooking. I know stuff like you would enjoy. I know you know how to make deer. You've been hunting deer. You know. Videos on how to build a smoker. You know, just stuff like that. And the big shop here, well, this one here, that's going to get turned into a studio. Since I don't really work on cars or anything like that, you know, it's going to be gym, studio, kitchen. You know, I don't know. I'll figure out a name for it. Videos on how to make wine. Those might get taken down. I don't know. Pickling, all kinds of stuff. A men's channel, in other words, basically. Oh, cool. I wonder. I'll talk to the guy I was just power washing for. His nephew built a monster truck. I guess it'd be, for lack of a better term, not just like a jacked up truck, but I mean like the $1,000 tires and all that. Well, yeah, you might as well enjoy it. If people drove go-karts, I mean, shit. You guys, what are you going to do? Spend $5 driving to town or back, you know? You save money on gas, that's for sure. Especially driving around town. Drive to the neighbor's house. Ooh, big, you know. Maybe not so fun during a storm or winter, you just use a regular car, but putt around on that, or even a golf cart. I got to be wise about what I do because I don't know how much longer the truck is going to run. Oh, wow. That's cool. That's going to move fast. All it is a miniature dune buggy, so, they should allow it. Years ago here, they used to be legal. You could drive them around. You'd have to, what the hell you had to get like a certain license or something that you could do it. And then it became, they made it illegal. Same with, now you can drive a four-wheeler in town or all, those other UTVs and things like that. But you can only go certain places. You can't cross certain roads. And it's just like, let people drive the things. It's safer. People pay more attention when they're driving those things, when there's traffic. Yeah, see, like the next town over you can, but in the country, it's illegal, which makes no sense whatsoever. The only way you can do it in the country is if you have a flag and you are using it for a farm purpose. Like if you drive to the store or drive to the neighbor's house or, it's illegal. And there are deputies that will pull you over and they get wet over it. And there's no reason because I don't know. It defies logic that you can drive them in a town of 20,000 that's always packed with drivers, yet out where you could drive for an hour and not see anybody, you can't drive them. Right. You're not hurting anybody. If I remember right, the big deal about it was somebody died and it was kind of messy and they didn't want to have to clean it up. And I think that was the excuse they used for making it illegal, which is just stupid. Because, okay, then make fireworks illegal, make hunting illegal, make going outside of your house illegal. And there's a guy down the road was working on his car. I don't remember what happened, but either the jack rolled out or something happened. And it crushed him. So make working on a car illegal. It's just... Yeah, it would. But that is if you're going to use that as a reason, to me, that's a pretty piss poor reason. That's just like with the jail back in the 90s. They got a new paint job. Well, you can't smoke because we have a new paint job. So why are you going to tell people that are locked in jail they can't smoke because of a paint job on a wall? That's just ridiculous. Oh, yeah, it would be fun. I'd like to get a snowmobile, but rarely do we get the time to use it, or the snow to use it, I should say. Because I know if I were to spend the whatever thousand on a snowmobile, we'd probably not get snow for 10 years. Which I'm fine with being in my 50s and driving a snowmobile around. I don't care. It'd be fun to me. Another thing I'd like to build, and it would be just for show, basically, is like an old, even a covered wagon would be cool. Or like one of those coaches. Well, yeah, exactly. You ain't going to find kids that are 13 building the go-kart like it used to be 40 years ago. You know what I mean? But like a horse-drawn carriage or what buggy, that's another thing I want to build. That'll be make a good playlist. I thought about fixing up that old drill behind the blue car over there. There's an old, I don't have horses. I'm actually not a fan of horses at all because of things I've seen them do. But I am going to let somebody rent out. But see, back behind, well, you see where the road goes, right? Down the hill, in there, and then back behind, in there behind that barn. I let somebody put horses in, and they're basically gonna work on the buildings. So nothing wrong with that. But no, I think just that having that building a carriage like that would just be something neat. You just don't see it. At least I don't. And you never know. You might get a young couple on YouTube. Oh, hey, can we rent that? Or I can make them a custom one or something. If I'm any good at it, I might not be. I think that'd be kind of fun. No, that place that I used to work, was it a year ago? Yeah, it would have been about a year ago. It's kind of hard to explain. The son owns part of it and the dad owns part of it. I get along with the dad, so much the son. And I got to where I was being blamed for some of those kids that were, see, I'd show up like around midnight between 12 and 1, right? Which those little kids ain't going to die if they're born at 12 o'clock and I don't show up until 12:30 or something like that. That's just not going to happen. And I'd be showing up and there would be dead kids laying in the straw, and they would be solid, like rigor mortis and everything. And I'd be getting blamed for it. Well, the son was the one that was working before me. And when the hell was he going in? And he was the one that was blaming me for it. So he was probably going in and banging his wife or just getting drunk, which is fine. I don't care. But don't blame me because of the problems they caused. Hey, CB, thanks for stopping in. Because, yeah, like the ones where I was outside working with the goats, everything was just fine. That was the dad's place. Across on the other side of the mile was the son's place, and the son started getting to be too big for his britches. See, he had one day where he had an auction, and you can look him up online. He made he made over $500,000 one day. And then he got really, I'm a big farmer, that attitude. And yeah, so I just said, fuck it. Now I do some errands for one of the neighbors. I work for, or help, help a guy down the road where I was power washing. And I work for the state right now. So yeah, I'm fine working for the state doing weed control. I mean, I wasn't going to go anywhere with working at that goat farm. Yes, absolutely. It absolutely is. See, because I was doing chickens, I was getting up between 6 and 7 in the morning, going to walk chicken barns. I would have to come home, and well, not always, because sometimes I would go do work construction, like where I was working on those those cabins, and I was up in the tree and all that. Remember? So I'd get up around, we'll just say about 6, walk the chicken barns, then go do construction, then come home, go to bed, get up at 10 o'clock at night, go to the goat barns till 6 or 7 in the morning, to the chickens, construction, bed, and it was getting to be where it was 16, 18-hour days for a couple months at a time. And there was one day where I went in the ditch almost 5 times in 1 mile driving to work. It was just because I was tired. Yeah, it's not, nobody should have to do that. And then that chicken barn, I am so glad I quit that. Because I quit that and I got the weed control. It was to the point this past year where it was, I quit there in like November, October. And it was to the point where it was like an hour a day, hour and a half a day, and that was it. So like this whole year, almost all year was just, I've just been making like an hour a day. It's not so much the messy part of it. You go in there and you're walking in these barns, you're wearing a mask, and it's just the dirt coming up. It just sticks to you. And I mean, your body is absorbing all that because it's the shit and the piss and, what animals leave behind. You're right. The smell. I had that smell on me for 2 years. I couldn't get it off. Hell, I got salmonella because there was one time I had poison ivy. They wouldn't let me take off when I had poison ivy. I had my arms wrapped, like I had open blisters and everything. Shit, when my mom died, I didn't get a day off. If that tells you anything. I had a sprained ankle. And even when I was walking those goat barns, I had a sprained ankle. Well, I was sitting down between barns and the owner started jumping on me. And it was like 5 minutes. I sat down. And he said, "Oh, why are you sitting down? What's your problem? Blah, blah, blah." Like, dude, I have a sprained ankle and I'm walking. Each barn is a mile's worth of walking. But anyway, I'm getting beyond the point. This year, because of that owner quitting his job to come walk the barns, I lost around $20,000 in hours this year. My year total from that job was $8,000 some dollars. I mean, and then you'd get 3 weeks off from the time that was chicken harvest. Well, yeah, that's something different. And that doesn't, I mean, you've got open air and all this. These chickens, they cannot be there. I mean, there's no open air. It's not, they consider it organic. Oh, what do they call it? All natural. There is no fresh air in those barns. You are walking in ammonia. I mean, shit. It's horrible. Absolutely. I mean, there's times where you see 100 foot in front of you. No fresh air. 80, 90 degrees with 75% humidity. You're wearing a mask the whole time. In the time that I quit that job, I've started to be able to smell again. I don't feel like I'm choking. When I did that job, every second of the day, I felt like I was choking, to the point where it was like almost like take a knife and cut my throat open so you could get air. That's how bad it was in those places. But one good thing I can say about everybody that was on that complex, I believe of the top 10, what I was told, and I believe it's of the nation, there's 16 barns in that complex. And we had, I think, 7 of the top 10. Each barn, because there was 4 barns owned by 4 different family members. We had 7 of the top 10 spots. I think it was 1, 3, 4, 6, 7. 1, 3, 4, 6, 7. And I think 8 and 9, or 9 and 10. So, I mean, it was everybody, everybody wanted everybody to have 100%, no death, 100, all your chickens living and all that. There was, because they have a tech that comes in every week. And he said they had this checklist that they started giving us. And he made a comment that, well, we want to know what the top barns are doing. And I mean, we were deliberately getting bad chicks, in my opinion, anyway. And they wanted to see how well we would do, and they were testing us, and I understand that. And there were days where, I mean, you got to think 45,000 chickens in a barn. And there were days that some barns were only losing like 10 or less chickens. When I did it myself, I actually had at least one day where I had 0 dead chickens in a barn. And then, another thing that would piss them off is I didn't call. Because you're supposed to go in there and they want you to call basically every day. Well, how are you getting all these great birds and you're not calling the chickens? Well, you're not calling the chickens. That's part of it. Because those birds, say you walk into a room, right? Hey, Lala, how's it going? Welcome. Be sure to check Michael out. And everybody share your channels. But you think about it, you walk in there, and those chickens see you calling. Well, they're going to be nervous every time you come in. And a chicken is not a bird that can handle being nervous. So by not calling the chickens that they want gone. No, but she can still check you out anyway. Because Michael's building, he's 53 and he's building this supercharged, I'm not sure the right word, but this fantastic go-kart. Have you ever driven a go-kart, Lala? I think she left. Well, she might be checking your channel out. Now you got to make go-kart videos. And another thing that I did, I did establish a method of reviving chickens, because these broiler chickens, they're bred so that their chest gets, or the breast gets so big that they'll flip over and they'll have a heart attack even just trying to get flipped over. Well, if you catch them at a certain part of time during a heart attack, and you stick your hands underneath the wings, you spread the wings out, you'd have to hold a chicken or just try on yourself, pulling your arms back, imagine, and like slide the thumbs across the chest to like spread the chest out and then support the neck, so the airway is open. And if you catch it early enough, you'll prevent that heart attack or prevent them from dying from the heart attack. Yeah. No, I mean, I hated seeing chickens die. You'd be walking and they just drop dead in front of you because they're so big. They go from whatever a chicken out of the egg weighs, so from 0 to up to 8 or 10 pounds in 6 weeks. Well, just imagine a chicken, extreme case is 10 pounds in 6 weeks. The typical size of a 6-year-old chick really isn't too much bigger than a cell phone. You know what I mean? Yet they're getting them to a point where a breast is the size of the bottom of a bucket. Just think, at 6 weeks, when we're walking a barn, and I've had a time where one chicken fits in a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket. That's got to be hard. I don't care genetics or even if you're pumping them full of chemicals to keep them alive. That's too much. Yeah. And they should only be, the size of your hand. Just imagine like a Just imagine like a 1-year-old being the size of a 10-year-old. I mean, that's basically what it is. That they were surprised that we could get such good birds with a low death rate. And part of it, like, well, the grain comes from Nebraska, but if you ship that grain to Georgia, where Georgia is a large producer, Minnesota, actually the business that owned these chickens were going for lost money on the chickens every time. It's Costco chickens. And they would use the chickens as to get people in the door. I think they charge like $5 a chicken or $4 a chicken, like a broiled or broiled chicken, whatever they call it. They didn't make money on it, but the amount of people that would come in to buy it and the things that they would spend more money on was worth it. So they have spent billions to lose money. They make absolutely nothing on these chickens. They're just that good that, I mean, it's just something to get people in the door. Yeah, that's all it is. Each chicken, like when the chickens come in and when the time they're harvested, I think they don't make, they get 40 cents a chicken. So think about that. They're paying for all the buildings, all the workers to put up the buildings. You do have to pay the buildings off though, but they're paying that up front. They're paying for all the feed, all the shipping of the feed, everything. Yeah, it just, those people that'll come in to buy that $4 chicken that might cost them $5 or $6 are going to spend $100 on other stuff. So it's worth it to lose that money. Just think how sickening that is. This is billions of dollars. Each barn, I think, costs close to $500,000. And I have no clue how many thousands of barns there are that went up. Within 5 miles of me or so, I know of 20 barns. So that's $10 million just within 5 miles of me. So now think, what's in the rest of the county? What's in the rest of the state? What's all over the country? And part of the reason why chickens and eggs are so expensive, and that part of it's Nebraska, part of it's Iowa, bird flu. Bird flu has been hitting. They have to destroy every egg, every chicken, and say a barn gets with chickens in it gets bird flu. You have to kill every chicken. Then there's the disposal cost, and that barn can't have chickens in it for, I think, 6 months. So let's just say, because let's just say 40,000 chickens in a barn. And 10 barns have bird flu. That's 400,000 chickens. Now, a cycle of chicken is 6 weeks. So that's a month and a half. Well, the chicken barn's burning down. Some of that, I'm sure, is people trying to cash in on insurance. But in the water, they also put 2 chemicals in, and they're stored right next to each other. When those chemicals are next to each other and spill, or they mix, they get hot enough to burn wood. There's your chicken barn problem with our fires. Now let's start. Have one more can. See that I don't want to say the wrong name, but basically it's if you get a leak in those things, or they spill, the chemical reaction creates enough heat to start wood on fire. Well, yeah, because I mean, if you have a barn that's going to be down for 6 months, how are you going to pay for that barn? How are you going to pay your work or your employer or employees? But if you have insurance and you happen to have a wiring problem or a chemical problem, is usually what it is. You get a new barn out of it, and I mean, you get some money, and you know what I mean. And I'm not going to accuse any one farmer of doing that, but you can't tell me that hasn't happened. And one of the people that works on barns lives down the road. I think he makes at least $250,000 a year just off of working on a few barns in the area. I mean, this guy's got all kinds of new vehicles. Just I think it's like $225,000 a year. He pays his help handsomely. I think he charges $30 an hour per employee, and the employee gets $20 an hour. But those farmers got to have somebody come out. I mean, if it's bad, you got to have somebody out there right away, middle of the night, whenever. So they're going to pay that $30 an hour, because it doesn't take very long. If there's a ventilation problem, which humidity will kill birds, heat will kill birds. If it's too cold, it'll kill them. That needs to be addressed right away, or you can lose 40,000 birds in like a few hours. You lose all that money. Well, what I found funny, last year, they had snow in Texas. They got like half an inch of snow, and these chicken barns were collapsing with chickens in them from the weight of the snow. Yeah, many people got suckered in, because basically what it is, the first year of chicken barns, you do great because, I mean, well, it's just like a drug dealer. They give you all these chickens, and there's a guarantee on it, and there's 45,000 chickens in a barn, and then all of a sudden, come that time, they're not guaranteed anymore. You get 40,000 chickens, which is 5,000 less, and boom, There's no repairs, free repairs anymore. Nothing's guaranteed. And, I mean, sometimes you get what you get. I knew somebody years ago that used to have a chicken barn, and he was telling me this when all these people started getting all these barns around here. And he said, yeah, I had one, and then a couple years into it, and everything that he said, that's what's happening. It is. It absolutely is. Do you remember a few years ago, 2-3 years ago, probably about 2 years ago, there was a big deal in the news about Costco chickens, and they showed like one chicken that was all bloody and cut up and everything like that? Do you remember seeing that? I will tell you, I know what facility they were talking about, and that was just, the employees sucked. It was an inside job. I mean, they hired this guy. Why would you hire somebody from, I don't know what the whole story with him getting hired, but you're on the property and they're going around with a flashlight showing the chickens, which means they're sneaking in at night or shut all the lights off, which is something you don't do. But that chicken that was laying there that was all like peeled open, that I never saw that in the 2 years that I worked it. Never saw that. It was all fakes. That was done to that chicken by the person that made that video. And I'm not sticking up for any company. Hell, I'm a member of PETA. I have no problem with saying that. I'm a member of PETA. I don't like hunting. I don't like how the chickens are raised, but I still did it because I understand farming. But the way that skin was peeled off, that was done with a knife. The company or the group that was behind it, it wasn't PETA. It was Friends of Animals, I think is what it was called. Or Humanity for Animals. It was some odd, like, extremist branch of PETA. And they talked about, oh, well, the chicken flipped over. That's its genetics. That's why you walk the barn. You flip the chickens over. And and then the composting, that's how you're supposed to dispose of the chickens. You're supposed to put them in a compost pile and cover them with compost. So that was just a big inside schmear racket by an angry relative that introduced somebody to get hired. It was all an inside job. And around here, shit, where I just come from. Where I just come from, he has, basically his family told him, or they found the value of the place, which is $4.7 million. And they told him, well, that's just $1 million for all of us. He's got 4 kids. Well, that's $1 million for us and $700,000 for you. That's enough for you till you die. That's what they told him. They don't want a farm. They just want the money. It's just, and I mean, I understand that, because I have a feeling they don't have the ideal setup for a family there. The guy is 70 years old and works from 6 a.m. till 10 at night. So there's obviously something wrong. There's something wrong with him. You don't it's not normal. He's trying to prove something to somebody. But and the kids aren't normal. I mean, it's just not a normal situation. How the hell did we even get on that? Something was said. I don't know. Yeah. What time is it? 6 o'clock. Okay. Do you see how light the sky is for 6 o'clock at winter, right? Maybe it doesn't translate, at least from what I'm seeing on the phone. I'm facing north. And this is something that I've noticed for years now. How light it is in the north at night and dark everywhere else. It never used to be that way. Yeah, see, why is it light when I'm facing north? See, that's like the global warming racket. That's another one. It's not any chemicals in the air or anything like that. The planet's shifted. That's all. That's all it is. Yeah, Nebraska's Northern Lights. We can see them sometimes, but you know when you see them. You guys probably get them pretty good. I know in Minnesota you do. You're on the way to Minnesota anyway. I've only been in Michigan. I got to look at a map. I may not have been in Michigan. I may have only been in Wisconsin. But either way, it was just during the day. Where I was in Norway, you couldn't see the Northern Lights. Northern Lights are pretty cool, though. I imagine the Southern Lights are just as nice. See, when I would have been, I think Michigan, and then I wasn't in Wisconsin. I'm not sure. I got to look at a map, but it was just basically I was going across country with a friend of mine or someone I knew that had a truck, and before I went over to Europe, and that's all it was. We were there dropped something off at a farm. I don't even remember what it was, and that was it. And then went back to Illinois. And Ohio. What is going on in Ohio? We have a town here. He's mentioned Ohio. That's called Ohio. Oh yeah, snow collapse a roof in a hurry. But yeah, we got a town or at least it was a town, Ohio. And I want to say it was next to Royal, Nebraska. I can no longer do roofs, that's for sure. Well, that's a talent that I definitely don't have. There really isn't anything to I mean, it's really neat, I think. But there's not really a reason for anybody to come here. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's just the zoo in Omaha. But there's no reason to come to Nebraska. Yeah, I mean, that's all it is. Just like Pennsylvania. You know, I mean, it's a different type of scenery. But it's just a bunch of nothing. And I enjoy it. I know it sounds crazy, but Pennsylvania, you get the parts, it's really nice. So I'm sure you've seen it where you just drive around and you'll see a huge barn all of a sudden and hills and trees and all stuff. But aside from certain things, there's so many places where there's really no reason to go. Like Kansas, I mean, there's no reason to go to Kansas. No reason to go to Wyoming. Colorado has skiing. Arizona has quite a bit. But it's just different than here. So, I mean, for somebody in Arizona, they've got desert. You know, I mean, and aside from Phoenix, why do you want to go there? You know, it's subjective. Arizona's not bad, though. I was just in the part, what is it, the northwest corner, where there's like just like a 20-minute stretch of interstate that goes through the corner. That's the only time I was in Arizona. It was nice. West Virginia is really pretty. Now, this is something you might remember in the late 90s. Do you remember a UPS truck being chased by a semi in Los Angeles? I was in that semi. And we were trying to get the docket in so we could get paid. Had to have the trucker had to have a certain file in. And he was trying to give it to the semi driver. But yeah, that was I was a passenger in that semi. Yeah, it was nothing serious. Just nothing became of it. It was just, and you may know of a different one, but I just know of what I was at. And then when I got home, I heard about a semi or somebody who told me, hey, a semi was chasing. Yeah, it was probably us. The other thing driving across the country and that you would know about, when Salt Lake City got hit by a tornado, I was there that day. And Massachusetts had a big blizzard, but Massachusetts always has a big blizzard, so I can't really use that. But I mean, I'm not famous for being on any of it, but yeah. I arrived just after the tornado hit Salt Lake. There's a huge pile. That salt, was it Morton salt? I think it's Morton salt. There's like this thing that you see. It's a mountain. And it's a big white mountain. It's just a huge pile of salt. They're just random. I may stream again in an hour. It's just random. And I want to thank you for hanging out. Because, well, shit, here's another thing. Remember how there used to be that people that would stream with lights on out in the dark? Oh, a half hour in the dark challenge. Shit, what have you and I just done? We've done over an hour in the dark challenge, We use one of these times, because the highway department is right behind the weed department. I know that sounds funny when you say it. We use beet juice. But yeah, thanks for stopping in. I see there's 2 people. I don't know if that's Lala or somebody just hanging out or lurking or whatever. Thank you too for stopping in. I will, I'll just cut the stream off here. Might see you guys tonight. Might see you guys next time. But when I'm on, come in. Thanks for watching.